So, good morning and welcome to another inspirational interview continued from the pandemic since 2020, 2021 really, since the start of the pandemic, and we're continuing 2023. We're now up to our 16th interview, and I got a cracking one today because we've got a great young man. I'll be kind, Krish. There, I'll be kind. So, Krish Patel, pleasure to meet you. I know we had a conversation. And you put me in that kind of interview mode, dropping it on me very quickly. And then we met in Manchester at the Feel Good Cafe, I think it was. Which was an amazing place to go to. But Krish Patel, introduce yourself.
So, hi everyone. As you said, Andy, I'm Krish, and I'm the founder of Tales to Inspire. I run a social enterprise here in Manchester that supports people through the power of real life stories, and that's how me and you came across each other, Andy, when you was on our podcast, on our blog, and we deliver workshops to children, young people, adults throughout the country, in the workplace, and a whole heap more. But essentially, that's the tiny little intro to who I am.
Thanks, Chris. I mean, we contacted each other and we had a chat, and the stories that you've kind of produced and spoke to so many different people. There's so many amazing stories. But yourself, I mean, you started this social enterprise, and it's got bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, thinking about where you are now, what you do, what is the plan for Tales to Inspire?
So the plan is, recently, mate, I'm terrible with plans and goals. I'm going to put that right out. Like funding bids and stuff, they always say, what's your 5, 10, 15-year goal? And I never, is my 5, 10, 15-year goal, and honestly, is to still be alive. That'd be great, but alongside that, my whole vision for Tales to Inspire is I want to have a platform that supports people in all walks of life and raises awareness on everything. So disability, refugees, homelessness, mental health, suicide prevention, anything that we have people who've shared their stories, and we're then advocating, we're sharing those, we're putting them on a platform, and then we're taking action. And if that means taking action by campaigning against the government, or if that means taking action by doing workshops and supporting people, however that is, and doing that in the workplace for young people, for adults, from as young as 3 years old up until death's door, right? We've got something that we can support everyone, because essentially we're all human. So this has all come about from me just testing things, really. And it's weird, Andy, because I didn't care about any of this stuff until I was 23. So I used to care about girls, cars, money, pies, fashion, and then life kind of changed. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for Tales to Inspire, hopefully.
Thank you. I mean, as I said, you contacted me and we had a chat, and we met in Manchester, and we went to the Feel Good Cafe, which is an amazing place, as I said, and you said it was all to do with a mental health cafe for Manchester, the only one in Manchester, and and the amount of work that you've done in Manchester regards to supporting the homeless, and you talked about going out every Wednesday with a group of young people, a group of people, talking to the homeless, making sure they're okay, and then the amount of different stories that you picked up over the time as well, and and you've promoted those in 107 countries now, worldwide. So it's an amazing thing to do, and you've done a TED talk, you've done lots of different things to support that. What is, from your point of view, Tales to Inspire? Can you kind of put something on that really kind of give you that motivation to push even further, or who gave you the push to do that?
The push came from my own suffering. I'm going to be absolutely honest. So in 2016, 17, I ran 4 marathons in 4 days, and I ran across the country, northwest Finland to northeast, and I went over to Uganda. I started volunteering, and with the money raised, I ended up building a schoolhouse in Uganda to educate 150 children. And this was all I wanted to do, was help people at this time. I just graduated in America. I was a professional footballer. Football was my life, and I realized that I wanted to help people. That was it. So I thought I'd go on this venture and test the waters. So 2016, 17 did that, raised over £10,000 in the process. 2018, we built the schoolhouse and it was all completed. 2019, I swam 53 miles to help 36 people from the streets into employment. All this time, in 2019, I was working a job that I didn't like. I was a computer admin. I was behind the desk. Literally, I would work 9:05 till 4:55. Right, I did not want to be there. And essentially, I realized that all I want to do is help people. But people would say to me, Andy, get a proper job, do this, get a big house, get a family. And I was like, I don't care about any of that. All I want to do is support people. And that's where I felt lost, to be honest. After every challenge, and this is with you doing your challenge as well, after every challenge, I felt so down. I'd done all this great stuff, people messaging me. Mate, I felt lost. Like, because I put everything into that moment, but then I had to return to reality of life. Why couldn't my reality be supporting people all the time? And that's when I really came into, right, let's get something together. And that's where Tales to Inspire was born in November 2019. So essentially my motivation came out of my own creation of, I wanted a community. I've always wanted to fit in. I've always wanted to have this community and didn't really know where it was. So I created it. And now we've got this community that's doing what we're doing.
Amazing. I mean, yeah, we did that. You dropped me into an interview unexpectedly, and it was great to talk to you. And I've looked at some of the amazing stories that you've covered and spoke to so many amazing people and what they do in the community, locally and nationally and globally. And it just shows you the kind of the potential and the amazing things that go on in this world that sometimes are overlooked. And I just think that having kind of this platform where you can share these things and share this kind of motivation all the time it needs to be consistent, as you say, because obviously there's people out there who are pushing themselves, but also going through issues themselves and conditions and every single day. But the amount of resilience and determination those people have, and it doesn't get publicised, and having your platform shows that. I mean, what regarding as you said, what you said about what you went through, what's kind of the biggest inspiration that you've ever come across or found that's really pushed you even further?
So, in all honesty, it was one person. This is back in 2013, 2012, 2013, when I was in America. I'd just been promised a full ride scholarship to live in the US and living in a mansion close to the beach. I was like, what, 20 years old? I was like, mansion close to the beach, America, California. I was like, full scholarship. I am off. Right. And I turned up and it was a massive lie. There was no scholarship. I was living in a 3-bedroom house with 13 people. And the football team was 55 players for a 23-person team. And it was, 9 hours away from the beach. It was terrible. Like, but there was one guy always smiling, one guy in our team. And he had it worse than me. He was living in the basement and he wasn't even in the starting team. And he was from Brazil. And I couldn't stand this guy, right? He was, what's this prick got to be happy about, right? I couldn't get my head around it, right? Why is he always so happy? And I actually told him once, stay away from me because you're too happy. And you basically, your head's in the clouds. I don't want to be involved with you. And then one day I said, I'm going back to Bolton. I've had it. I was playing against Man United a year ago. Now I'm here in this situation. And he said me two things. He said, if you keep running away from your obstacles, you'll never overcome anything in your life. I ran away from Bolton. I was running away from California. Anytime something hard came, I wanted the comfortable life, not the difficulties. And then the second thing he did is he didn't speak to me. He spoke to the potential. He spoke to the best version of Krish Patel that existed, the one that I didn't even know existed. This guy who's here today is because this one person saw my potential and he spoke to it, but he lived it. He was always so positive. He was always, even though he was going through the difficult times, he was like this determination that no matter what, nothing's going to stop him. And that one person literally changed the direction. I know Tales to Inspire came in 2019, but it started in 2013, 2012 from that one person who really saw my potential.
It's interesting, is it? Because obviously, part of what we do, and yourself by listening to stories and connecting with people, the impact it has from that inspirational side. And as I say myself, I was medically retired. I was quite happy to be doing delivering post and working for Royal Mail for forever. But then obviously things changed, and and somebody said to me, he says, well, your meg's retired, you've got all these fractures, you've got this rare autoimmune condition. That's it. Now you're finished. But it was because I started working in the education and got involved in inclusion sport, and all of a sudden, a door opened. And sometimes I think this is meant to be. In some cases, like destiny, because we got my disability doesn't define who I am, but it's made me the person I am. So, like you see that potential, or somebody sees that potential, and all of a sudden, the whole world changes. Regards to, obviously, we talk about young people and the stories that we've heard and connected with, and we're looking at economic situation now, and where this country, not only this country but the world itself, is going. What would your message be to young people going through trauma or impact on their daily life, or conditions or disability, or just having a bad day every single day? What would you say to those people to say, look, just go and do what you do and carry on and find that resilience and determination?
I think that's such difficult. So let me just have a think about this one. So essentially, what I think is, if people are going through like with the economy and everything that we're talking about, first of all is persistence. But secondly, we talk about never giving up, right? As if this thing, I can never give up. But if the thing you're doing over and over again isn't working, give it up and do something else. Try a different way. Life can go in a million different directions. So actually try something different. And so we got this never give up attitude. Let's go work as hard as you can, but realize actually you can give it up and go in a new way. Being persistent and just realizing that change has to happen, because nothing in life stays still. That's one of the facts of life, right? So the question is, are you going to change in the way that you want to, or are you going to change in the way that you don't want to? And that is a you. So I think that the big thing is everything comes down to the person in the mirror. Now, I know that we're all born into difficult circumstances, or different circumstances. That could be family, economic, it could be whatever it is, right? However, we have the engine and the control of our engine. That's the one thing that we can control. So let's use it. And if that means you need to get support for yourself, let's find how you get that support. That means you don't have to do this alone, right? Being a human, the worst thing for being a human is being lonely. Fact. We are not supposed to be literally lonely at all. We're supposed to be part of a tribe, right? So get that community, find that one person. All it takes, the power of one, to support you. So really, there's loads of things I'm throwing out here, but having that person, realizing never giving up may not always be the right case, realizing that change has to happen. It will happen. You choose which way you want to choose it, and taking responsibility for that person in the mirror. They're the things that I'd probably say.
Fantastic. I mean, you've got lots of things going on with Tara to Inspire, and you talk about motivation, inspiration, and the connections you make with people. I mean, it's a pleasure to connect with you, Chris, because every time we chat, you talk about so much positive things. I mean, from your point of view, and obviously you talk about the things that happen to you and issues, but how did that support your resilience and determination, especially with mental health, going forward? And and at times, we're all in that position where we have highs and lows. And yourself, I have highs and lows, you have highs and lows. But how do you cope, like, every single day? I mean, yesterday, as I said, I'm starting this new. I'm doing a superhero solo triathlon this year. It's the first time I've done it, and I went swimming yesterday. 9 weeks of trying to train, ready to get this done, and open water swimming, 150 meters. And people say, "Oh yeah, it's easy." But then when I go and I think about, I'm doing it, I'm going by myself, and all of a sudden I think, yeah, it's not easy when you think about it, especially with the impact of like not realizing how my disability works in the water, and everything else. And all of a sudden I do doubt myself, and I do doubt the things that I do, and it's like, wow, how do I get over that? But then you find the person that you talk to, like yourself, and you get that kind of that motivation, that G up to say, yeah, let's carry on. You can do it. It's just, again, how are you going to do it to complete that task? And you find a different way, which we always do anyway. So from your point of view, then, how does that support you?
So there's two ways for me to look at this. I think empathy is one of the things that we lack in this world, big style empathy. I mean, if the leaders that we have in our society, the government, politicians, however you want to look at it, if they had more empathy, they would be able to connect to the people. The issue we have is the fact that the people leading us have never lived the lives that the people they're leading. So that's a big gap. That's a really big difficulty. So when I go through a difficulty, whether that's with my struggles with my mental health or whether that's with anything, financial difficulties in Tales to Inspire, because it's not smooth sailing at all, whatever it is, one of the things that I realize is, man, I'm building empathy with others who are going through the similar situations to me. Because when I can do that, I instantly can build connection to that person. Wow, Andy, you come to me and say, man, I'm struggling with money at the moment. I know how you feel because I've been there. I am there, you know? So instantly, it's not feeling sorry for people, that sympathy, that does you nothing. Empathy, man, I feel you. Right, let's take action together and let's do something about it. So empathy is a big one. And then for me, routine. When it comes to actual looking after myself, I know I have to have routine. If I have no routine, I am hopeless. So for me, I wake up early in the morning, I chant, I practice Buddhism. So I chant in the morning and then I go to the gym, I read, and then I start my day. And that morning routine, having that routine and knowing what I'm doing is vital. If I go on a holiday for 10 days and it's a beach holiday, after about a day and a half, mate, I'm lost. Like I cannot deal with it. I need that routine. So for me, routine is a big one.
Fantastic. I mean, yeah, as I said, we talk about the people that we talk to and the connections we make, and it's it's different stories every single day, and I think for me, when I go into schools and talk to young people, and I think the struggles that they go through, it is about empathy, because I think the issues are with regards to stigma against disability and the understanding of how disability works in the community, especially business as well and corporate. There's still that lack of empathy to support the ideas that that person's got a disability. How are you going to change things to support them? But in fact, you have no idea because you've never understood disability in the first place. And a lot of these, corporates, and I'm not trying to, be disrespectful to any corporation or say that they're doing things wrong, but there's got to be a way that's going to support organisations, companies, corporates to say, regardless of that person having disability, you have to have an understanding and structure and routine to support that person. And it's a big thing at the moment, obviously, with Sophia Morgan with regards to disability and wheelchair users on planes, which again, he's been, again, she had her chair broken by British Airways. And again, she's on this morning again to publicise and again, take that battle forward, because, again, people are not listening to people about things that matter in the community and in society. We have a quick fire round, Krish, and I always do this on my interviews. We've got two more questions after this, but the quick fire round is one word answers or as quick as possible. Are you ready?
Do it.
All right. So, what is your favourite food?
Curry.
Okay. Favourite drink?
Milkshake.
Favourite music?
Favourite music. Rhythm and blues.
Okay. Favourite film or TV show?
Cool Runnings.
No, I watched it at the weekend. It always brings back memories. Fantastic movie. Such a classic movie to watch with the late John Candy, and it's something I was like builds that kind of motivation, inspiration about bringing people together as well, and also the kind of barriers that were in place at that time and how they overcome them as well. So yeah, so brilliant film. And if you had a superhero power, what would that power be and why?
A superhero power, and what would that power be? It would be the power to bring people together.
Fantastic. Okay, we have two more questions, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you. But what is the future for Tales to Inspire, and especially Krish Patel?
So, in terms of Krish Patel, I'm consistently thinking of new ideas, trying to be creative. I do not want to put myself into a box. I want Tales to Inspire to be Tales to Inspire. I do not want it to be Krish. So at the moment, we're transitioning to getting Tales to Inspire, transition from me to really having its own brand, which is amazing. I also have Storyoak, another company. I have a Google folder of 150 business ideas that I want to, I've got there. I want to be able to be this entrepreneur, but create social impact. And I want to inspire literally generations. So for me personally, I'm here to make a massive difference. I'm not gonna. I don't put it anywhere. I'm here to leave my stamp on this planet and to leave my stamp in people's lives. For them to inspire each other and then to really create these waves. And yeah, so there's so many injustices and there's so much suffering in this world that we live. And for me, I feel like I got to learn about them and then I've got to take action. Individual change, I get it, but systems are so broken and I'm here for systematic change as well. And so I'm part of that. And I don't know what that means or where that will go. In 20 years' time, we might come together and be like, Krish, what were you thinking there? Because we didn't get any of that off the ground. But whatever, that's my determinations. But then for Tales to Inspire is to grow this, where we can get it to scalable. We've got 10 people in the team. I'd love to have it different teams all over the country and possibly all over the world to really show people, let's go and do it. And you know what? If there's competitors and people who create the same thing, good. Because what we're here to do is create change and change for good in our society. So people say, oh yeah, but you can have competitors. Bring it on. Let's do it. Let's do it together. I'll even help you. Come on, let's get it going. You know what I mean?
Fantastic. It's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously, you talk about bringing things and building on that impact, but and the system is broken. Let's face it. I mean, we talk about disability, mental health, issues in economic situation, schools. We've seen a massive impact now regards to SEN children and students. We were talking to a school last couple of weeks ago where prior to the pandemic, they had 12 young people with SEN conditions in their school. Now they've got after the pandemic, post-pandemic, they've got 65. And it is massive to think about that. Since then, the government hasn't supported schools retrospective regards to helping them with training resources to support that and looking at how that you can now impact on young people regards of these, because let's face it, mental health has increased since the pandemic. For young people, stress, anxiety, more conditions are coming out more prevalently. There's a lack of support regards to specialist college or because that everybody has the right to be in mainstream education, but how do you cope with that regards to having the staff to support that as well, and where's the money coming from, even though in some cases there are underspends and panels out there that are not spending money appropriately. Again, I'm not being hypocritical to anybody, but there's underspends in certain organizations where there's money available but it's not being used effectively because the panels that are got and I hate to say it, are middle-aged white men from affluent backgrounds who don't see the point in working with organizations that are engagement with low income families and deprived areas that don't support their economic growth, so to speak. And I'm not being political when I'm saying that, I'm just stating the obvious. Regards to obviously our last question, we talk about motivation and inspiration and what Tales to Inspire does and Krish Patel does. If you could think of a quote to support motivation and inspiration, what would that quote be and why?
Wow. Cheers, Andy. For me, I think there's probably two quotes, but I'm going to go with every person has a story, but we just have to dig a little for it to come to the surface. And I think that's something that really represents me, and it's one of our Tales to Inspire quotes that I came up with is, we forget how important we are and how unique and how beautiful we are. Mate, Andy, I can speak about how great you are all day. I could say, I could change your problems. I can support, I can do everything I need, mate. You need some money, you need to do 150 meters. It's all right, I'll swim it and I'll drag you along. I can do it all. Right, but the struggles that I face are the ones that are the hardest. That person in the mirror once again. So realizing that we all have this story and we all just have to dig a little for it to come to the surface. Actually, every one of us have been through maybe a death in the family or financial hardship or being ill or getting older or whatever it is, so that can relate to someone else. So the question is, we just have to dig in there to see what that is, to be able to connect to others. So I think, that's the one I would go with.
Thank you, Krish. I mean, it's a pleasure to talk to you, and what you do is amazing. And Yeah, we're in Manchester on July the 29th. And hopefully we'll be in Manchester again to do some more activities and look at an event that we can do together, because I'd love to link up with Tales to Inspire and organise something that we can do together and really push that idea that community is everybody, and showcase that as well, because obviously what we do with inclusion sport and adaptive sport activities really supports the idea of community. And we need to get those stories out and really bring people together, because again, the issue is that by yourself you're nobody, but together we're everybody, and we can start making waves that really impact on our community locally, globally, and nationally and globally as well, because as I say, it's always difficult, and every day is a different day, but a pleasure to talk to you, Krish, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Andy, for having me.